Сайн байцгаана уу хүнд үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр манай de facto нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Европын Холбооноос Монгол Улсад суух онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайд эрхэмсэг хадагтай Ina Marciulionyte оролцож байна.
Ina Marciulionyte. Европын Холбооноос Монгол Улсад суух онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайд. Литвийн Вильнюсын их сургуулийг Литв хэл, уран зохиол, англи хэлний орчуулагч мэргэжлэр төгсөж, Францын дипломат харилцааны стратегийн хүрээлэнд олон улсын харилцаа, дипломат харилцааны чиглэлээр докторийн зэрэг хамгаалсан. Литв улсын соёлын дэд сайд, Литв улсаас ЮНЕСКОд суугаа Элчин сайд, Литв улсын гадаад харилцааны яам, Латин Америк, ойрхон орнод, Аз, Африк, Номхон далайн газрын ерөнхий захирал. Литв улсаас бүгд найрамдах Хятад ард улс, Монгол улс, бүгд найрамдах Солонгос улс, Таиландын Вант улс, бүгд найрамдах социалист Вьетнам улс, бүгд найрамдах Мянмарын холбооны улсад суугаа онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайд, Европын Холбооноос бүгд найрамдах ардчилсан Лаос улсад суугаа онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайдаар тус ажиллаж байсан. 2024 оны 9-р сараас Европын Холбооноос Монгол Улсад суугаа онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайдаар томилогдсон ажиллаж байна. Литв, Англи, Франц, Орос хэлтэй.
Хамбогд уус хатан туулгуулын хөвөндөх цэнгэг агаартай бүсэд байрлалтай. Хүүхдэд ээлтэй хотхны төлөвлөлт болон эвл амьдралын хэм маягийн эрхэмлэгч та бүхнийг King Tower апартментийн 5-р элчин орон сууцнд урьж байна. Амар тайван амьдрал. Аян давтагдсан шүү.
Good evening. San Beno. Okay. So you have recently joined your current function as ambassador of the European Union. So you have been working also as a European Union ambassador to Laos Democratic Republic before coming. So why Mongolia? Why you have chosen Mongolia?
In our career, it's not only you choosing, you are being chosen as well.
Okay.
So my understanding is that it happened because I had some knowledge on Mongolia and I worked with this country as bilateral ambassador. So it was most probably seen that for me it would be the easiest way to start working without starting from grassroots. And I see a big difference because when I came to Laos, it was a very new country for me. And Mongolia is not a very new country, so it is much easier to start working.
And how many times you were coming as ambassador to Mongolia from Beijing, from where you are covering the country?
I try to come at least 2 or 3 times per year, but I was coming to Mongolia even before, because when I was Director General for Asia, we had also, some meetings here, and also I remember when we had Presidency of Community of Democracies, Mongolia took over from us. So I had also some relations then with your Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I came here when Madame Clinton was here, and she delivered a speech here, and there was a meeting on the Community of Democracies. So I really have been here not once.
So with this background of knowledge since that time in Mongolia, how do you find today the current situation, political and economic situation of the country compared with your, say, first travel or so?
I would say I see a lot of positive changes, and I'm not flattering because I see clearly the development of the country, of the city, even starting with the diet, for example. When I came for the first time, it was some long really time ago, 90-something, and we were hosted and we had kind of a reception, and they had a lot of potatoes and meat and maybe 1 leaf of salad. And I was asking, where are vegetables? And the answer was, we actually don't eat vegetables.
Okay.
So you see, now it's completely different because Mongolians started eating vegetables.
And Mongolians start to live longer for the last 30 years.
Yes, so it's really good.
Due to the vegetable, other good rations. What else?
Speaking of political situation, it's a very good coincidence that I am coming when you have a new government in place. And it is a coalition, and I know that people have doubts whether the coalition is good or bad. But I would say I'm coming from the country which has constantly government composed of coalitions. So for me, it's a very normal creature in the government. And in a way, it is more difficult for the government because they need to combine their programs and they need to make concessions because, coalition is about concessions. You cannot push your own agenda because you need to also to look at your partners. But what is good also, the coalition partners are controlling each other. And this, I would say, the advantage to the Mongolian people. And what I also see a very positive energy at the government. From the ministers I met, I see a willingness to work and to achieve results. And I'm also very happy to hear that there is a new appetite for renewables.
Renewables, okay.
Which is very important, and
okay.
What we also want to help Mongolia to work on.
Mm-hmm. Just back to the coalition or joint government, is it, you said they are each other controlling, but when they generally now in this coalition, Democratic Party has and the Hunnam have very important sectors of the economy, so their performance, if they perform bad, the government is performing bad, right? So what would be incentives for them to push each other a little bit stronger, or demand each other?
My understanding is that they are all ambitious. So for example, Democratic Party, I understand their explanation why they joined the coalition is we want to do something good for our people. So it means they need to perform. They need to achieve results. And that's the sector that they have really difficult challenges.
They got what they wanted.
Like, yes, that's the energy sector and similar sectors, and they are not easy. And in any country that would not be easy. So my understanding, the biggest controller for them, it's Mongolian people, because they will need to explain why they joined the coalition and what did they do if they joined.
In that sense, how do you find this returning feedback of the government to the people, the reporting, kind of all this feedback? How do you see that level of the institutional capacity in Mongolia? How does it work? Do you see it is efficient, etc.?
My understanding from everything I heard when I came here, that you have a lot of journals and lots of media outlets. But I also know that quite a few of outlets are run by politicians, which is not good. Because the strong journalism has to be separated from politics. Because otherwise, how can they be critical?
Didn't you have any similar problem in Lithuania?
We do. But it's not mostly not related to politicians. It's related to businesses, big businesses. Uh-huh. Because in our case, politicians cannot own media outlets.
Oh,
it's not allowed.
Law.
It is a law.
Oh, okay.
That we had issues, we had challenges. So apparently we try to separate this, and also journalists would immediately follow, because if somebody is selling some media outlet or someone is buying, so it is being scrutinized.
Okay.
Who is actually the person?
That's something what we need.
Yeah.
Sure and strongly right now. And the other thing about the big businesses, you said in Lithuania the same. How to get this, have the fine red line in between businesses and making policy so that it is not intervening?
It is always a difficult challenge, but also, different countries in Europe, they have different practices as well. I can say about my country, for example, that we don't allow the politicians to be sponsored by businesses. Political campaigns cannot be financed by businesses. They can be only financed from the state budget.
That's what we are missing too.
It's not allowed, because we had this possibility when businesses could sponsor political parties, and we decided to stop it.
How about political campaign?
The political campaign also is done only from the political party budget, which consists, it could be also from private donors, but there are very clear limits how much you can donate. then you also need to declare your income, and it's not big amounts. But political parties cannot get big amounts from businesses because it would be not acceptable.
Well, no, it is not only to the party itself, but say the recent election in Mongolia, the bigger companies turned out to be given to separate candidates. And total money is big, but they were
in our case it's not possible.
Okay, so you limit the total amount?
Yes, it's not only total amount, because it is also the law where you can see that political candidates, like candidates for example, for the president, they have very strict regulations what they can do and what they cannot. And if, for example, they can get some, because they also are, everyone is looking for some possibilities, and sometimes you can get some strange persons, for example, trying to support with 10,000 euros some candidate, and then they need to explain where they're getting money from, But companies cannot. And then it's also, there is some issue when you have, for example, new parties, because the new evolving political parties, because we are constantly getting new parties,
Sure.
Some disappearing from the picture, others appearing, then those parties cannot get still money from the budget. And it's very difficult for them to campaign, because they need to deserve this support from the budget, and it will happen next year most probably. But for the first year, then they need to rely on very small amount, because they are not eligible yet to get this money from the state budget for political parties. But it is regulated. It's quite clearly regulated, and it works, I would say, quite well.
Is it because you became European Union, and European Union has particular rules and regulations in terms of campaign financing and political parties?
I would say that that we are 27 in European Union, and countries have different regulations. But transparency and prevention of corruption is the key for all of us. So of course it depends on the country how they regulate it. And you could look at at different, for example, older democracies, like older countries, like would say, like for example Germany or France, they have maybe different regulations. And also we have smaller and bigger countries, like Lithuania. In terms of population, we are almost like Mongolia. We are a little bit less than 3 million, right? So not speaking about territory. So it means that we try to make our campaigns as transparent as possible. Nobody's perfect, because it's impossible. If you look around with democracies also, you have flaws and you have problems, but there is no better system. Nobody still invented that.
Not so far yet.
Yeah.
So on European Union in Mongolia, 35 years of diplomatic relations we celebrate this year. Many good things have done. Still there are. What are your priorities, ambassador, in that relations?
So the European Union is the biggest donor in Mongolia, meaning donor in development assistance, because we also not only come like some companies with investments or with different projects that private sector invests, but also we are coming with grants. And I'm always trying to explain to people that grants means that we are giving European taxpayers money. Means that European taxpayers are allocating certain amount. So here we try to work in several sectors in Mongolia, meaning that green and sustainable development, democratic and economic development. Because Mongolia is not LDC, not least developed country like Laos is. So it's a big difference. And here we really work as partners and the so-called third neighbor, right? So we are very much interested in helping Mongolia to achieve energy independence, because even coming from my personal experience from the country that I'm from, I know how important the energy independence is, because country's independence starts with energy independence. That's
Correct.
Clear. Then we also want to help Mongolia to have better management of public finances. So we have budget support in public finances and employment policy here, because we also see that it's not only for the ministries but also for IMAX. And we had really good projects in that. Then we also want to work, and we have like Stream Plus project out, like the second phase of this project. And today I went for the opening of this our meet a project where we want to help Mongolia to develop, value chain in Kashmir, in meat processing, and also like camel milk also. Because we see that those are sectors where Mongolia could achieve more and to get more exports. Because when we speak about potentials in logistics and in trade, so even we were speaking that if we want to have more flights from Europe, or we want to have some more cargoes from Europe, we need to have both direction full cargoes. Because if you import and bring something, you need to export something, because the plane cannot be empty. So it means there is more need for production.
Yes. So let's talk about one by one. Let's start with energy dependency. How do you find the situation, and the way we try to solve all these projects? Are they effective? How long we have to wait?
My understanding is that up to recent time, there was no big appetite for renewable energy. Because I know that the ambassadors, even the beginning of this year, met with energy minister.
Okay.
And it was the previous government still.
Yes.
And it was mostly about coal.
Yes.
Energy from the coal. And we, as the European Union, of course, we are always very much for renewables and for green and clean energy. And especially when we see a big potential in Mongolia for solar energy, for wind energy, for clean energy that you can have, because being cold country, you still have a lot of sunny days. If in my country, which now is already very gloomy, very, very dark, and we don't have much of sun during winter and autumn time, contrary to that, you have a lot of sunny days, and you can use solar energy a lot. So my understanding is that now there is an appetite, and when I spoke with the president, when I was submitting my credentials, it was clearly underlined that there is an appetite for that. I haven't met the Minister of Energy yet, because they are very busy still, so we will have this meeting. But I also met with the Deputy Prime Minister in charge of, from Democratic Party, in charge of energy, Dorchan, right? So we also spoke a lot about this possibility to get renewable energy. And I know that they went also to Uzbekistan to look at those possibilities. And we also have 2 European banks that are ready to help. It's not only European Union as such, because usually we come with grants and it is only they like seed money for a bigger project, but it's also European Investment Bank, and they both were here. They just came, European Investment Bank and European Reconstruction and Development Bank, both of them. So they are very much interested in having, they want to support transition grids or transmission grids or transition towards the renewable energy. And of course, there is a need also to solve this issue of storage of the energy, because when it's not needed, what kind of technologies could be used for that. And there are lots of solutions, and we are also looking at the possibility to partner with other partners here, because I know that you had also the dialogue, energy dialogue with US and Japan and Korea here, So, and all our European countries. So my understanding is that there is a big readiness from every side to help.
We have been talking about this, as you said, appetite for many years. But
it was not that appetite for many years. Okay. I guess it's quite recent.
What happened? What happened was many years ago, when the technology was not that advanced. Certain projects got particular concessions where the prices were fixed for long term,
Yeah.
and which was very higher than we could afford. As a result, we have projects which is not fully paid or not on time. And as a result, also, because it's expensive, the grid, central grid, is not much eager to buy from them. And it created certain bottlenecks for future investors into this sector. Are you familiar with the problem?
Yes, I heard a little bit about it, and I know that there is now, for example, also the willingness to change tariffs for electricity here, right? And we also were speaking about this, how it has to be done gradually, and people need to be prepared and explained.
Now, plus the technology,
yes, of course,
had
technology is
increased
changing
substantially,
absolutely.
and the kilowatt cost were substantially lower.
But I can tell you, everything comes at a cost, and everyone needs to be ready for that, because, again, from my own experience, we were very much dependent also on Russian energy.
Yes.
And we were paying for our gas very, very expensively until we built LNG.
Okay.
Of course, our situation is different because we have access, to the ports. We have the sea. We are not landlocked, but there are always solutions. But LNG was not cheap also. And we understood that. And we also, our energy dependence was at a cost because I remember still embargo.
Yes.
When we had very cold winter and not hot water.
Yeah.
But everything is possible, and if you are really ready and if you understand what you are doing and you are thinking about your future, then you do it.
Then now with the fuel, we are most dependent. There is electric cars coming, more and more electric cars are sold here. Not like in Europe with higher tariff, here is not much higher tariff.
Yeah.
So we have more and more Chinese cars
electric
coming.
Cars,
It's one of the replacements, one direction, one street where we have independence. Also, we have also refinery being made, which unfortunately takes quite long. And how do you see the combination of future energy of Mongolia? Is the Mongolian government does it have any particular replacement plan, etc.?
I cannot answer for
discuss?
because I didn't meet the Minister of Energy yet. But from everything what I heard from different officials, there is a readiness to become as much independent as possible. It's that it takes time. You cannot do it overnight. But of course, it is very important to do it. And now, for example, we are also sponsoring or just paying for, together with the bank, this transmission line from Chur to that's the another I still don't remember the IMAX very well, but between two cities is 220 kilometers energy transmission line.
Okay.
Because this is very
European
important.
Union is investing in that?
It's European Union together with European Reconstruction Bank.
Okay.
So because if you don't start it, you would never do it. So it means that it already was time yesterday. But it's always better later than never.
Okay. Let's talk about...
Mongolia is a very rich country. You have so many minerals. Lithuania has no minerals at all. And because of that, we need to invest in people's brain and technology. But you also cannot only dig all the time. You also need to invest in brains and to invest in production.
Exactly. On your support in public budget, we noticed that when they compose the revenue side of the budget, they have a particular provision called international donation, or in the third country help or something. How much do you work with the efficiency of whether the government using properly your money, using through budget? What is the mechanism that you can control that?
Because we have budget support program. So it means that it comes to the directly to the Ministry of Finances, and we speak about throughout the years it's around $51 million, euros.
Okay.
But of course we have quite clear indicators, and the report from the government has to be transparent and quite clear. So there is lots of mechanisms, and we have our also verification missions. And also we rely on IMF that comes and verifies the budget and then transparency. I would say, I know that people are quite critical vis-a-vis the budget that Mongolia has, which is normal, every country has big debates on budget. But I understand also, and I heard not once, that Mongolia is actually perceived as the country with quite transparent budget, which is very good.
Okay.
Because
so you find our budget transparent?
Yes, it's quite transparent. Because, budget support means that we are, working and helping you to be not only transparent, but also results-oriented budget. Mm-hmm. Because, it's not always easy to learn how to prioritize vis-a-vis the results, how to do it, and especially in IMAX. And we had just recently, together with UNDP, we had this competition for IMAX, for auditors' offices,
okay,
to have this exercise for this result-based budgeting. And what is interesting? The winners, from IMAC, they were sent to Malaysia also for several days to see how it's being done there, because we found that it's a good example because it's in Asia, and they could go and see it. And then the government also found money to send one person per each IMAC also to see how it's being implemented there. And they are coming back tomorrow, and they will meet with them.
That's
and
very
we will
interesting.
Speak about it, what they saw there, and and people were very enthusiastic because they were working in teams. They were really designing those budgets, and the results by that what experts told me were really quite good.
How do you see the centralization and decentralization of budget in Mongolia? Because the local IMACs know better what they fix rather than the Ministry of Finance in Ulaanbaatar city. What does the relations between this centralization and decentralization of budget in Mongolia?
I still cannot say much because I haven't spoken with any of the governors.
Okay.
This I simply cannot answer without speculation. But I would say that of course the IMAC and SUM they are closest to people, mm-hmm. and they should be given more independence to look at their own budgets. So this I really don't know if it's the case here. But I see that like Ulaanbaatar municipality is also quite sovereign, I understand, mm-hmm. and I will meet with the mayor, and I have many questions to him concerning also the traffic here and decisions of closing some bridges.
Okay.
Suddenly, but of course the governors. But what is the problem? Not a single governor is a woman. And why it's so? What is happening here?
That's the problem, yes.
Because women really know how to handle their family budgets very well. And I understand that they deserve. Also,
we had only one woman.
Yes, but
for
now
the history,
not a single
not anymore,
one.
Yes.
So it's really very bad because it doesn't mean that women are not capable. And this combination would be, because you always have two parts of population, male and female. So, sometimes critical input from women would be really very helpful, and maybe this IMAC would be one of the best, actually.
Well, maybe by the end of your term in Mongolia, we may have another governor, a woman.
I hope so.
The third things, based on your priority, you said about the many projects you are involved in. There is you said about the halal type of produced meat. Okay, I understand what is it, and you have this ISO, all these requirements.
It's not halal, it's offal.
Oh, offal.
It's this what is something that gets from, that what's usually not used, like intestines or not only some, some things that they usually throw away and it could be used. And with just today we got this, because it's FAO implementing partner. They are discovering that a lot of meat is being not used, and there are lots of good minerals and good minerals and vitamins still in this meat, and you can make a lot of products out of it.
Okay.
And it could be used, and they produce now around 13 different products.
Where is it?
It's here in Mongolia, and and they already were today in the seminar in Blue Sky.
Okay.
They were speaking about it and introducing, and some companies are ready already to be actually processing it.
Okay.
Because I was really surprised to hear today that 21% of kids up to 5 years, I think, in their blood they lack iron, and I cannot understand why, because usually they eat a lot of meat, but it means that something is not okay with the diet, and maybe those minerals could be added to their diet as well, because it's also 70% lacking vitamin A.
Yes.
So my understanding is that those scientists of universities here, together with FAO, they were looking how to enrich the diet and also how to use something that now not being used, but it is quite cheap, but still possible to be used, even for the canteens in schools, because it is healthy and it is nutritious.
Okay.
So this is also very good.
In that sense, what kind of contribution or cooperation from your side in this field?
So here we actually we are working together with FAO, and we are actually sponsors of this project. So we are giving finances.
Okay.
And we
sponsor the feasibility or
feasibility studies, and also
technology or
what it's the entire process what they want to do, because clearly they wanted to get scientists involved, and then of course the production itself will be done already by companies, because that's already business.
So is it outside of EBRD or separate coming directly as a grant from the European Union?
It is the grant from the European Union. Yeah.
Okay. Final question. Compared with other mostly former socialist countries, the way Mongolia works with the European Union, how efficient is it?
I would say that Mongolia is a very eager partner, and I see that we meet a lot of well-educated people here, and especially younger generation, is getting good university degrees, and they speak languages, and I'm really pleasantly surprised to talk to them, and there are lots of meetings happening, and it's very dynamic. It's really very dynamic political life, and I would say very good energy. So it's my 1 month, 20 days I am here.
That sounds very optimistic.
Yes, but I have very good impressions. I really have very good impressions.
Well, let this optimistic about the energy go through all the years you are here, and thank you very much for coming to this interview.
Thank you so much.
За хүн үзэгчтэй өнөөдөр манай de facto нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Европын Холбооноос дөнгөж ирээд байгаа Монгол Улсад суух онц бөгөөд бүрэн эрхт Элчин сайд эрхэмсэх хадагтай Ina Marciulionyte орлоо. Баярлаа.
Цэлгэр уужим орон зай. Хараа баясгах үзэмжид харууц. Цэвэр агаар тав тухтай орчин. Тансаг давтагдшгүй өнгө төрх. Таныг илэрхийлэх төгс хийцлэлтэй King Tower. Тавдугаар Элчин орон сууцны загварын байранда та бүхнийг урьж байна. King Tower Apartment.